Alright guys, time to have some fun. Let's get this build started with the Diffs, bag A. A little tip that most of you probably know already. If you take your screwdriver, it's really helpful with these little Diff screws. You just rub it on a magnetic surface, instantly makes it magnetic. Now mine's not very strong, so it's not going to pick it right up off the magnet, but if I put it on the head, you can see it's just staying there. Alright guys, I already put them in, but for the O-rings that go in this Diff, I recommend using some sort of oil. It calls out some grease. I use this Factory Team green slime on all of my O-rings for diffs and shocks, and it makes them move butter smooth. Just a little quick tip there. Guys, diffs are just about built. I just want to let you know, for the front diff I run 10,000 weight team associated oil, and for the rear diff I run 5,000 weight team associated oil. Alright guys, that is one front diff done, and it feels butter smooth. On to the rear. Alright, once I put these bearings on, we'll have the rear diff done. And one quick tip for you guys. Please, 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 when you're putting this diff together, be careful tightening these screws. Those screws are really easy to strip, and when I was first starting out with LC cars, I stripped a ton of them, and if you strip it, this gear will pull away from the case, and you'll strip everything, diff, ring gear, and pinion gear. Bad things happen if you strip out those threads, and it's really easy to do, especially if you have a big handle like this. So normally I will take a tool that has a very small handle, this actually goes inside of here, and just tighten it up as much as I can, but being careful not to strip, because if you overdo it, it'll just spin and you'll never get a bite. So up next is shocks, so let's do that right now. Oh, almost lost it all. I don't know if I've ever said it on this channel, but I really don't like E-clips. Once again, on these shocks, I use this green slime from Team Associated. That makes it move butter smooth. I have noticed a big difference in my shock performance since I started using that. Alright guys, another little tip here. When putting on your lower shock caps, I like to screw them on about 90% of the way and leave it off about a half a turn. And then when you put that, allows your piston to go through there a little easier, and then once your piston is through for the first time, you can tighten it up. Alright, here's another quick tip for you guys with the slime. If your shock shafts seem to be a little stiff when you first assemble them in the O-rings, that's totally normal. The O-rings are new, so they're a bit tight. So I just run a little bit of green slime up and down the shaft once they're assembled, rub them around, coat the shaft nice, and just run the shaft in and out of the shock, and it frees up beautifully. Alright, for those of you who don't know, this little contraption here that I'm putting my shocks in right now is a Tamiya shock vacuum. So it does exactly what it sounds like. You put this lid on and then you pump it up with this little pump here, and that creates a seal inside this chamber, and that pulls all the air out so that you don't have to sit there and pump the piston up and down and up and down and wait for all the air out. That'll do it for you in a fraction of the time. So that's what I'm going to do right now. But before I do that, I'll let you know what weight oil I use. I use TLR 35 weight 420 CST oil, shock oil. This seems to be the best balance for the car. I've run 5 weight lighter and 5 weight heavier, and that works too, but I like 35 best. Alright, now I'm just going to let that sit there for a little while, maybe 5-10 minutes, and then I'll be back to finish up the shocks and move on to the front end. Alright guys, I'm back, and I see no air bubbles, so we'll release the pressure and pull it off. Simple as that. And now we'll just bleed them. And if you want to know how to bleed, go back a couple years on my YouTube channel. It's just a few videos, and look for the how to oil LC racing shocks. I go through the whole process.